So let's talk about this LEGO set number 76206, Iron Man figure. That's the name, Iron Man figure. And also while we talk about this, I'll show you a cool mock that improves the original design tenfold. So this set, for the most part, is a buildable action figure. Kinda similar in some manner to Bionicle, but also not really. I mean, there's basically no CCBS or Bionicle style parts in this set, except for maybe these updated connector element pieces, which are sort of kind of a Bionicle adjacent part, but I would say it's more along the lines of an Exoforce piece, but there's still a crossover between those two themes. But still, it is technically a buildable action figure in some way. Plus, with the announcement of the new Groot buildable figure, it seems like we may be getting more of this sort of style of buildable figure in the future. And it also seems like this is the direction that LEGO wants to be taking construction figures from now on. Sadly, maybe no more CCBS pieces, and instead they're just going to be purely system-based builds of some of your favorite characters. Of course, this is pure speculation on my part. I have no idea what LEGO's future plans are, but it kind of seems like this is the trend so far. So if we are getting more of these sets, are they any good? Do we need to resort to making something better, kind of like this model? Well, let's discuss, shall we? So this Iron Man set is, well, it's nothing special. It's decent, though. I remember when this set was announced, people were really unsure about it. They were thinking it didn't really look that good. And I wanted to reserve judgment until I got to see it in person, because there's totally times where LEGO sets look way better in person than they do on the official box or official images. And I thought maybe this set would be the same thing, but not so much. Regardless, the set comes with some absolutely lovely red and gold pieces, which is always nice, and I think it's actually really good that we have a buildable Iron Man figure like this. That's just nice to see. Additionally, some of these new shoulder pad pieces are really awesome, and they're fairly similar to some of the shoulder pad pieces we got from some of the Star Wars Ultra Build sets, so there's a bit of crossover there with some of your Bionicle stuff. But there are a few reasons that this set is a little bit of a letdown for me. It doesn't look as natural proportion-wise, and it kind of makes you place the arms really low on the torso. Now, this does unfortunately affect the posability, but there is still a pretty good amount of posability anyway, which is nice. Another thing that's nice is the leg design. I think it looks pretty decent. These pose fairly nicely, as does the torso. And while the mask looks okay, it does also look a little bit flat, I suppose. It's just something that's not quite right with it. But I will say it looks much better in person, and I don't think the box does it justice. I have heard some people say that the old Construction Iron Man figure looks way better than this one, and I might have to agree with it. There's something just about the proportions and the sort of stocky look of it that's just nicer. I don't know what it is. With all that said, the figure itself is compact, solid and sturdy, and there are some fun features like the light brick that are pretty nice. So sure, it works well as an Iron Man figure, but I don't know, it just doesn't pop like I was really hoping it would. It doesn't have as much sort of character and life to it that a Bionicle set did, or that some other buildable figures that LEGO have made have had. I also feel like there's a lot that they could do to improve this set. Granted, this is the first of what seems to be a wave of multiple Marvel constructible action figures, so maybe the LEGO designers were just sort of testing the waters and exploring and trying out new things, but a lot of the future sets will only improve on where we currently are with this set. And it certainly looks like that with Groot. But hey, who knows? So with all that said and done, can we improve upon this set? Well, I found this awesome mock on Rebrickable, which was built by Ransom Fern, and I think it looks gorgeous. So for those of you who don't know, Rebrickable is a website where you can list some of your own instructions for some of your own mocks, or even buy instructions for other people's mocks, as well as browse sets and do a whole bunch of different stuff. It's a really cool website. Now, normally I prefer to build my own mocks, and I don't really find it as fun making other people's stuff. But look at this beautiful thing. I had to give this a go. Now, to make it, you need to buy 2 of these Iron Man figure sets, as well as one of the Arisham Lego sets. And then that way, by using all of the different pieces from these sets, you can make this. You do have some pieces left over, of course. And I thought doing this was a bit of fun. It reminds me of some of the old Bionicle combiner models, where you would essentially do the same thing, combine multiple sets together, and make a cooler looking, kind of larger model. So here is the finished and built mock, and man, this is so well built. I think it was good fun to make it, and it was actually really interesting to see how another builder builds, what kind of specific techniques they use, and just seeing the way that they built stuff in ways that I normally wouldn't. That was just a really refreshing experience. And I think it was also really cool to see how they tackled the limitations of only being able to use the select pieces from these 3 sets. Often with rebrickable models or any other kind of combo model like this, having limited pieces, you kind of have to make sacrifices. And some areas have like weird colors or just, I don't know, look kind of off, but other areas look kind of nice. But the funny thing I found with this mock, everything looked good. The pieces were just used in such creative and beautiful ways that it didn't really feel like I had to, in any point, make sacrifices. It was just a really solid, well-designed model all around, which is honestly pretty rare for this sort of thing. Now, while it was really fun to make this, I won't be showing you the instructions since you do need to buy those. So if you want to see an in-depth look of all the techniques that were used and how this was actually built, well, you will need to go buy the instructions yourself. Anyway, this guy is huge, way bigger than the original toy. Here you can see him next to a Carnage minifigure and Breakout Breeze. Yeah, he's a pretty big boy. So much like this set, this is based off Iron Man's Mark 43 armor from Age of Ultron, and I think it's a pretty solid recreation of it. The torso is easily my favorite part of this model. There's some awesome angles on this, and they really match the source material beautifully. Overall, what I think I really love about this mock is just the brilliant shaping. There's so many wonderful curves, perfectly connected pieces, and overall just really well-placed parts that recreate the armor in such a nice way. Even the choice to buff out the back of the head instantly takes away some of the issues that the original head had. It just doesn't look flat anymore, it looks so much more a part of the suit and so much more lifelike. It's beautiful. So looking at the posability now, I was hoping this would be better than the original set. Not so much. The arms have a really great range of posability, allowing you to move it in a lot of lifelike and natural ways. But you can't really extend the arm outwards like you can on the set, or like you often see him doing in the movies. But you can more or less recreate this, just maybe not in the ways you expected. Still, it works well. There is one issue I have with the arms though. This area here, you can kind of pop it off at times if you move it around too much, because it kind of butts up against the torso. But it's not that bad, you just need to be careful when you're moving it. The legs have zero knee articulation, and they can't really move at all, even towards the top of the waist there. This is really the most that you can pose the legs, so not much at all. But sacrificing leg posability does allow for an incredibly sturdy base, which means this dude is just not going to fall over. And the sturdiness is really nice in my opinion. While I normally do love a good amount of posability, I'm pretty happy that this thing works very well as a display piece and isn't really going to fall over. Plus he looks nice in a sort of nice neutral position like this, so that kind of works for me. The light up chest is cool, it works pretty similarly to the original toy, but the way it's designed you can kind of position it so that the light brick is always on, which I think is a nice feature as well. I did question if adding in some of these same blue boat studs on the hand could be a nice addition. I mean, it kind of works, but I think they're a tad bit too big, so maybe the original design works well as it is. There's really not much else that I felt needed changing on this mock either. Anyway, this model is incredible. I still prefer making my own stuff, but man, I'll happily go back to Rebrickable and look up other cool instructions like this, if it means I get to build something awesome like this. Honestly, it kind of feels like I bought a $700 Hot Toy figure in terms of just how detailed and well designed this thing is. It's really nice, and it feels like good value for money when you compare it to something like that. So all in all, yeah, the original set is nowhere near as cool as this fan-made model is. Ranson Fern did a really good job. But that does seem like an unfair comparison, since this uses way more pieces than the LEGO set does, and LEGO sets are often designed for play, not display, like this one is. So they're kind of two completely separate things, but it's still interesting to compare them. That said, I'm excited for the new Groot figure and other future Marvel buildable figures that may well happen. And while it'll never fill the Bionicle-sized hole in my heart, it is a very nice alternative at the moment. So go buy the instructions for yourself, I highly recommend it. And this isn't an ad, by the way, I really just recommend getting it. I had a ton of fun building this set, and I'm sure you will do as well. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other cool models on Rebrickable, so by all means check it out. It'll be a bit of fun, I'm sure. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you very much enjoyed. Happy building, and bye for now.